All right. We are ready to practice making a graph. Now, heads up, you're probably not going to finish this today. And in fact, it's okay if you don't finish. It's just practice, really, in setting up a graph and maybe doing a couple bars. If you do have time to finish, that's awesome. The next graph we'll make on our favorite places in Santa Barbara actually is something that I will look at and assess. So this is just practice for today. So the first thing I need you to do is take a class survey. So you each get 2 votes. So you may vote one of 2 ways. You may vote one time for, let's say, cookies and cream, and one time for strawberry. Okay, so 2 votes. Or you're like, no, my absolute favorite flavor of all time is mint chip, and I'm gonna vote twice for it. Now, I realize we are super lucky here. We have amazing ice cream. Rory's has insane flavors, so does McConnell's, and those aren't really pictured here. So just, deal with it and choose what are your favorite flavors out of this list. So pause it now and take that survey. Everyone can vote 2 times. All right. So now you're coming out of the pause. Let's pretend your numbers are this. You should have written your own numbers here from your class vote. And this is just a sample, right? This is my example, and this is not what you're writing, but if you do, that is also fine. All right, time to set up our graph. Now, when we set up a graph, ideally, you want a lot of space to write in what's called the y-axis, up and down, and the x-axis across. Literally, the way I remember x-axis is an x is across, and so when we're going to cross the page, I know it's the x-axis. All right, and hey, here's another way. Y goes high, so the y-axis goes high. All right, so let's start off with a title. The title, what is this all about? This is about, I can look out right here. This is about my students' favorite ice cream flavors. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put here, students' favorite ice cream flavors. All right, students' favorite ice cream flavors. Okay, the next thing we have to do is something called the scale. And the scale is also going to make us determine what our labels are and our units are. So when we're talking about the y goes high, well, what goes high in this graph? Can ice cream flavors, is something higher or lower than another there? No. The ones that are going high and low are these number of students. So that is going to tell me that my y-axis is going to be my number of students. So I am writing on the left-hand side here, number of students. And my unit, because this is a label, my unit here would be votes. So this means like for every student, they get 1 vote. And for this one, if you put number of votes, parentheses students, that also works. Okay. All right, so now our x-axis is going to be our ice cream flavors. So I'm writing that really low there. You can see this. Ice cream flavors, because we're going to get more detailed in a second. All right, now to figure out the scale, meaning how I stretch this out to use the majority of the graph, I have to first figure out what our highest number of votes were. So for this sample, we have 10 for cookies and cream and 10 for vanilla. So that means that my graph has to reach up high to 10. Now let me show you something. We always start a graph at 0. And you see I'm writing in pen, by the way. You should be writing in pencil. I'm just doing it for the sake of this iPad being able to pick up my lines. All right, so I can count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I could have 10 here, and I could make my bar graph, and I have some 10s, and I have some 8s, and I have a 6, and I have a 2. And guess what? This entire part of my paper is blank. How boring. So we do something where we scale it. You know when you see like a model of something? Have you ever seen like a model of the Eiffel Tower? And it's not the real Eiffel Tower. It's not however many meters high. It's little, and you can put it on your desk. Well, we're going to scale this. So we're going to scale it up instead of scaling that Eiffel Tower down. So I'm going to say that instead of every line equaling 1, I'm going to have every 2 lines equal 1. And as long as your highest class vote isn't more than 14, you can also do this. So as long as you don't have a flavor over 14, just stick with me here, you can count by every other line. So I'm going to do space 1, space 2, space 3. Now, folks, you know you can figure out this number. This number is 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. You also notice that I'm writing it right on the line. So it's on the line, it's not in the middle of the box. So 4, 5, that's where my 10 was going to be. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to keep counting up just because I'm kind of being complete here. And proof that if you have 14, it'll fit. But if you have a number higher than 14, you all need to count by 1. So if you have a number higher than 14, it will have to be 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. But it's okay because your page will still stretch. All right. And then the next thing, because I've done this graph a million times, I know that how to stretch my bars. So we have a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars, and we need to stretch them out. Again, I could do a space, I could do 1 bar, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and how boring if my graph only went to here and all of this was empty. So some strategies we do is we first leave a space between every bar. So let's pretend that this ruler is my bar. I'm going to have a space in the front, and I'm going to have a space after it. And then the next bar, go grab another ruler, would go like this. And my next bar would go like this. Thank you, rulers, for being so evenly spaced here. Or perfect size. Okay, so you see we have a line between each one. We're going to do that. And because I've counted the number of boxes and your number of flavors isn't changing from mine, I know that we can do a space, a 3-box bar, and then a space, and then our next bar. So here we go. I am going to do the first flavor, which is cookies and cream. And the cookies and cream value for my graph is, for my sample, is 10. So this is how I'd like you to do this. I would like you to first draw the line at the top. So I'm going up here and I'm skipping 1 box and I'm going across 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm doing my line. Okay, that's the top of my 3-box wide bar. And now I'm going to go put my pencil there first. Then I align my ruler and I go down. I go over here. I do the same thing. Down. Okay. A couple other things that we like to do. There's 2 options. First is I always want to write the value on top because not all graphs are neat like this. So if we just have the value on top, it's really easy for somebody else to read and see what it is, especially when we get further out here. I'm going to put 10 at the top. Now, 2 ways to write the name. I'm going to write the name down here, but I do have to write small. So cookies, this is our label, and cream. Or I could actually write it in here. I could do it like this. Cookies, and you get what I'm doing there, and cream, like that. That's totally fine too. I'm just gonna keep it this way since that's the way I started, and pen. Okay, now for this graph, I think it's kind of fun. I'm gonna like kind of theme this like some cookies and cream. You know, you get these like pieces of Oreo in your sometimes you get those chunks, other times you just get these chunks, and then sometimes your bar graph looks like a cow. Okay, and then you get all these little like flecks. The colored pencils, by the way, are on the counter. You are welcome to use them. You just must return them neatly, and they don't end up on the floor. You can also sharpen them in the pencil sharpener. Okay, so there's my first bar. You may go for it at this point. I want to let you know that I already, quote unquote, messed up twice today. So if you mess up, don't worry about it. Look, once today, I already wrote it with the holes at the bottom, and then that would be hard. Another time today, I did my bar only 2 wide, so it really wouldn't go that far, and there's that. Another time last year, I did my bars too fat, and you see it went over. So, you know what? If you mess up, that is so fine. You don't worry about it. You just do your best. This is our practice one. I'm gonna do one more bar, which is chocolate chip cookie dough for an 8. Let's see, chocolate chip cookie dough. It's gonna be brown for me. So 8, I'm gonna again go over here. I'm gonna zoom in for you all. Here's my 8, but remember, I'm gonna skip a bar. I'm gonna go over 3. Put my pencil down. If you wanna do this all in regular pencil first, also that is fine. Remember, if you do not finish this today, it is fine. What does chocolate chip cookie dough look like? I don't know. It looks kind of like chunks, right? It also looks like a little cow. Very similar colors. Maybe it's like a little yellowy. I don't know, like vanilla-y. Not my best, but I'm not going out of the lines. Okay, but to finish this, I have to say there's 8 at the top, and I have to write my chocolate chip cookie dough. Oops, misspelled. I'm gonna abbreviate. Chip cookie dough. Okay, you can see why it might be easier to just write it in the bar. All right, that's it. Keep going, have fun. And this is your first graph, so just give yourself some grace. All right, see you tomorrow.